Hey guys, we are back with another Mythic Legions review, another older figure that came out again thanks to the recent All-Stars 2.0 reissues. Today we're taking a look at Atlas the Conqueror. This guy, as usual, comes in our standard collector-friendly packaging, figure there in the big window, Legions logo on the bottom. Bio for this guy, along with a product shot on the side, and then the back of the package has that original 1.0 lineup, artwork, and write-up of Mythos. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Atlas the Conqueror figure. So this is one of the 1.0 figures that was then re-released in All-Stars 2. And I keep getting a lot of folks asking when I do these reviews, is where can you get these? Frankly, you really can't get them without going to the aftermarket, because this was one of the in-stock sales that I got him from. So he went up, he sold out. You got to find him with someone who has him, or wait until they put more up in a future sale, which could be, who knows, maybe never. So just know that ahead of time. So here we go. We've got a pretty pivotal character as far as the overall story goes when it comes to Mythic Legions. He's one of the larger characters in terms of just name and his importance and his role, stuff like that. We're not going to get into that, but I do like the mythology behind all this stuff, so the bios really do it for me. We've got a pretty standard figure here, though, as far as 1.0 style figures go. So, of course, 1.0 meaning he is a little bit bigger. He is without a diaphragm cut, standard human male, really. So let's see what he can do as far as articulation goes. He is a little different because he's got the asymmetrical design going on, and he does have, at the time, I think this was a unique head sculpt. It's definitely not anymore. We've got a head that can really only do not much, because he's got a bunch of hair, so he really hits his neck right away, and he's got the beard that has the braids, so he hits his chest right away, and then you can rotate. But if you've got the pauldrons on, and this is one guy where you kind of need him because he has the knighted arm, it looks kind of weird without him, I think, so I'm using them pretty much 100% of the time. So with the pauldrons on, he does hit pretty readily. The arms go out at the shoulder. The pauldrons will, as always, move to help accommodate your movements, and then you can rotate. So he is pretty standard. If you've messed with one of these, you know exactly how he's going to move. You've got a single jointed rotating elbow. You've got forearm rotation. You've got wrist rotation. And then, of course, you've got hinge. You've got your ball joint down at the waist, so he goes side to side, forward and backward, and rotate. Legs go out. They would go pretty much full splits, but he does have the loincloth belt pieces that come down, so they kind of get in the way, but it's certainly not too bad. It doesn't really hinder him in any way. You can kick forward. You can, of course, kick backward pretty good on these. Thigh cut as usual. You've got your single rotating knee joint down there, and then we've got rotation. We've got rocker, and we've got hinges down at those ankles. So he is, again, pretty standard, but he does have a few limitations maybe that you wouldn't see otherwise, just because of what's going on with his beard and his hair. And then, of course, I do have the pauldrons on him right now. It goes without saying, though, that this guy is very, very much looks-driven, I think. Unless, of course, you are, like me, into the bios, this guy is very, very looks-driven because he is so kind of haphazard. He's one of those figures that looks like he has kind of slapped on whatever armor he can find, and his backstory kind of goes along with that in some ways. So he is, again, very asymmetrical because he does have the fully knighted arm, and he's got the larger kind of Dark Knight style pauldrons, as I tend to say, and then you've got a more traditional pauldron on the right, bare arm, and then matching forearms gauntlets on him. He does have the skull kind of loincloth and belt piece stuff. You see like this buckle on, say, like Keltis. I always use that example because it's the one figure that always comes to mind. And then you've got the furry loincloth piece and bare legs, and then the more Dark Knight, again, as I call it, style of shin guards and feet. I love this combination of armor. I love this look. The actual bright silver that they've used is really, really well done. It's very striking against the tan flesh tones that we've got, and it is quite shiny, quite metallic too, which is pretty par for the course when it comes to this line. When it's supposed to be metallic, it usually is. I have one weird paint issue on this figure, and I say that because I normally don't run into problems like this on any of these figures. I can't offhand think of anything that I have many issues with, but he has got the weirdest patch of blue right here, and it kind of comes up onto his upper abs. I would assume it's maybe from where they painted the blue on the braids and they just kind of dropped the paintbrush or something, but it hit right there. And thankfully it's covered by the belt. You don't ever see it unless you're really going crazy with that ab movement, but you can see a little bit. So I do have a paint flub. It's not the end of the world, but it is kind of an oddity for me to see something like that in this line. Usually my figures come through pretty flawlessly. Otherwise, though, I mean, he looks pretty fantastic. This is one of the lesser type of figures in terms of what he has as far as parts goes. You don't see tons and tons still of bare-chested characters, so this one's still kind of in that smaller represented realm, and I do like these. I love the asymmetrical design when it comes to these figures. Oftentimes, I don't in a lot of other lines, but when it comes to Legions, asymmetrical stuff really does it for me, and this more slapped together, you know, haphazard style of armor treatment that they gave him, it really works for him, and it just looks cool, right? That's pretty much what it comes down to. It looks cool. Though for my money, the head sculpt on this guy is really where it's at. Just based on how they've done him up here, I think it really, really sells the idea behind who he is, where he comes from, and just how kind of badass this character is. So you've got what I believe is, again, a unique head sculpt as far as when he originally came out. Since then, Adamon has it at the very least, and it's a really nice head sculpt. Great head of hair, the ponytail, the beard, the braids in the beard. Of course, those braids are likely the source of that blue paint on the abs on my figure, but they do look fantastic. Great sculpt, paint, the black wash in there, and then just the grizzled warrior nature they've given this guy. The big eyebrows, that's a pupilless eye with the scar going over it. That really sells the idea behind this figure, that he has been around for a while, very battle hardened, and he just looks really grizzled and ready to throw down. I mean, you really can't go wrong when it comes to this head sculpt. It absolutely is like the cherry on top when it comes to this figure. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy, again, is a original wave 1.0 figure. So he has a pretty standard assortment, but he does come with the axe, which we don't see all that much now in the later waves. It was kind of heavy in that 1.0 wave. So he does come with this big guy here, and it's done up in his color scheme, so some of that tan and then the lighter green accents. He does also have the extra piece that you can make it a double-bladed axe. So you pop this guy off, and then you can put this guy on, and you've got a dual-sided axe, which I love. I like the modularity of this. I think it's really cool. It's just an added little bonus to be able to change it up enough and really make it an entirely different weapon. You've got the standard dagger, which is just silver with black. And then you've got the longsword, which again matches that dagger, silver and black. And both of these, or one at a time, really can be sheathed in the actual slot that's on his belt. You don't actually have to use the strap. Of course, he does come with one. He's got the strap, and then you've got the back adapters for wings if you decide to give this guy some bone wings or some more bird-like wings. So yeah, this is a really solid figure. There's not a great deal that's going to deter me from saying that when it comes to a Legions figure. You basically just have to say, well, he's going to like that one, and that's pretty much what it comes down to with this one as well. He's got a cool look, and he still looks pretty unique amongst most figures. There aren't a lot that really kind of rival him for his setup and his general design aesthetic. He is still kind of a man apart in that way, and I really dig the asymmetrical design. He's got a solid set of accessories, if a little bit on the plain side compared to newer stuff, but it's great stuff. You don't get that axe a lot in newer figures these days, so it's good to get that again. And he just looks cool. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And he is a central kind of character when it comes to the mythology. So if you're interested in that side of things, he is definitely a must-have. So I'm really glad I could add him to my Legions. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legions Atlas the Conqueror. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.